Yes, Saloni ma'am, over to you. Sorry, Usha
Yeah,
ma'am, over to you.
Should I start now?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
sure.
good evening to everyone. Myself, Usha Sharma, the host of today's webinar. It gives me immense pleasure to extend you a warm welcome on behalf of the Learning Heights, which has clubbed all of us here in order to incorporate all the things in the field of education. What is design thinking in education? Obviously, we all are very much aware that it's a problem solving program or approach for innovative classroom. You all must agree with that teaching is a lifelong process. Everybody needs this in the field of education, everybody. So it helps teaching faculty to cope up with the changing requirements of future generations. Making ourselves updated makes a teacher quite confident while delivering all the lesson plans in the field of education or in the classroom to interact the session and all. To make the learning process alive, it's the innovative initiative of mutual sharings of each and every one from Learning Heights, and we promise that our journey with you all will never stop. It will be continuing only. Now, I would like to welcome our esteemed speaker of the day, Miss Saloni Aruna, academic head with Physics Wala. Earlier, she was the academic vice president of Extra Marks. I welcome you, ma'am, here.
Thank you
It's
so much, Usha.
it's my pleasure to welcome our one more speaker of the day, Mr. Anurag Sharma, Principal of St. Xavier, Mirzapur. I also welcome the Honorable CEO of Learning Heights, Mr. Vishnu Gupta, and Director of Training, Mr. Amar Kumar. Kindly
Very good
allow,
morning to all.
kindly
Very
allow
Good
me
evening.
good
Yeah,
evening, Usha ma'am. Good
very good
evening, Saloni
evening.
ma'am.
Very
Please
good
start.
evening, Vishnuji.
Kindly allow me to highlight the services of the Learning Heights that we provide to the schools. And it's very important for each and every school, for each teacher, and for all the educators. So, what are the procedures of Learning Heights that we will be discussing? What are its aims basically? So, what are CBSE, IB, IGSCE, ICSE affiliations of renewal with guarantee? In-house teacher training as per CBSE guidelines with a valid certificate. Complete IT solutions such as website, school software, mobile app, robotic labs, etc. In-house online training for the teachers and parents. Financial academics audits for accreditations, sale, lease out, or take over of schools. Here, I would like to share the motive of today's webinar, why we are going to conduct today's webinar, why it is very fruitful, very innovative for each and every one. As per the CBSE guidelines, it's very much important, mandatory, or indispensable for each and every one that we all have to attend 50 hours workshop from CBSE sites also, right? And as Learning Heights, we present here is taking the initiative to make their teachers very confident in the field of education only. Today, we are going to hear and learn from one others about design thinking and ways in which it can be implemented within the school to boost the output of the learning process. What is this? And how we mentors can make it good for the students, innovative for the students, what best we can do, what teaching methods we can apply in the field of education, what kinds of approaches we can bring. Let us move towards our collective journey of learning through the mutual sharing of our experiences. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Saloni to share her views. What emerging technologies can be integrated with design thinking to enhance students? What is it really? How can it be benefit for the students? So over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Usha. Thank you so much, and very good evening to one and all who are present here. And this is going to be a very interesting workshop for all of us. All of us, those who have learning attitude and are keen to learn. And I mean, we are sparing our quality, valuable time on Saturday evening. We are sitting together to discuss a few ideas. How can we improvise the classrooms? So the classrooms, the student-centric approach. This is what NEP and NCF are aligning us towards. And delivering outcomes to students, that becomes our foremost duty as teaching fraternity. And then measuring those outcomes in the classrooms is again one good thing that we need to achieve as teachers, as mentors, as facilitators. So why I'm saying this, we are teachers, we are facilitators, we are mentors, because we even cater to varied kinds of learners in the classrooms. So when it comes to the classroom teaching, how many of us would say that, applying design thinking to classrooms will make them more efficient in terms of delivering outcomes? Anurag sir, I would like to ask you, I mean, how do you think that this is going to improvise our classrooms?
Ma'am, as you
First
know that,
point, yeah,
good evening to everyone, and it gives me immense pleasure. It fills my heart with joy and unspeakable to rise in response for the warm and cordial to everyone. See, ma'am, we are living in the time of accelerating change, more complexity, more competition. So our mindset plays a very vital role. So until
correct,
or unless we will be adhering with the same what is going on in the modern education, because we have been following the traditional education. So the teachers must be tech savvy. They are supposed
correct,
to use all the relevant tools while
correct,
entering the
मैडम
classroom,
अभी अभी आपकी
because the
स्लाइड शेयरिंग
students
मत
learn
कीजिए
by
उसको.
means of
जब
three
वो मैडम
methods:
बोलेंगी ना तब कीजिएगा.
auditory method,
हाँ,
visually,
स्टॉप
visual
शेयरिंग.
and
method,
यस यस.
kinesthetic, yeah,
kinetic.
kinesthetic,
Right? So the teachers must be prepared, and teachers must be well acquainted about the tech and what is going on in the trend. So, according to my point of view, until or unless the teachers will be prepared, there is a need of the hour. Actually, teachers must be prepared first, so that they can
correct,
use smart classes, lesson plan, right? So all the tools should be executed in a classroom, because children are coming to the school having the different mindset, different skill set, different family background, and we are
correct,
making them learn the same thing in the same fashion. So until unless, because learning
yeah,
is never an isolated process, it's an
totally,
integration and a different process, ma'am.
correct, correct.
So,
So one
right,
fit
ma'am.
for all is not possible now. One fit for all is not possible since we cater to varied learners. So we should have, say, in our classrooms, some tools, technology, and methodologies for differentiated instructions. Differentiated
Definitely, ma'am.
instructions, just to make them all learn and deliver outcomes at the same level, so that they can attempt standardized assessments. This is what
Definitely.
we are preparing our students for, the assessments which are integral. So how all the students can be brought to the same level. So here the first point, the design thinking tells us to empathize with students. When we say it is a problem solving approach, I mean, in the classroom, when we say, so classrooms are, say, full of students who are with a different mindset and who come with a different, say, level of learning from the previous grade. So gap to grade is the first thing that we all need to analyze, and this is the first step of design thinking. That is, we are empathizing with the students that they all might not be at the same level of learning, bringing them to the same level and then starting with our chapter. So this is the first key I would suggest. So how empathy in the classroom can be built? So this is something that I would like to initiate with the help of diagnosis, a gap analysis with all the students. And yes, as a teacher, I need an environment that is going to help me analyze the gaps from the previous grades. So what should my diagnostic assessment look like? This is what NEP and NCF is even suggesting us to do the gap analysis when we start with our class. It's not that we can start teaching in a class, say, which is full of students without knowing whether the skills, whether the competences, whether the knowledge promised in the previous grade was achieved as an outcome by the student or not. Yeah. So I would like to involve you in the discussion here. So when I say math, when I talk about statistics, so we generally believe, we as teaching fraternity believe that this is the syllabus from class second or third or fourth, and then it goes to seventh, and then it comes to 10th grade. But we do not say analyze the skill gap since beginning. So if I say that data analysis is a course in the say modern generation is running after this course of data analysis. So how they started doing it? Was it on the spot? Was it in the spur of the moment, or was it built in the education system since the childhood? So I would like to support with an example here and involve you, Anurag sir. So I believe that a student starts observing classrooms when this child is very small, say in the age of 4 or 5 years. Then they start collecting data. So how many flowers did you see? How many balls did you play with? What was the color of the ball? So this is collection of data they start. Then they start with arrangement of data. If you would agree with me, it's like in grade second or third. So it becomes increasing or decreasing order of the data. This is how we take them uh, towards the skills that we want to achieve. Then next it follows representation of data. Representation of data. Then a few metacognitive skills that we need to build upon, like which data needs to be addressed or represented in which manner. This is how a student learns. So all this is possible only after a thorough gap analysis. अब मेरे student को observation of data नहीं आता था और मैं उसे representation of data के लिए बोल रही हूँ, या उसको increasing or decreasing order में नहीं arrange करना आता था. I'm telling the student to find out the median. So this is design thinking. This is what I need to assess in the beginning. So here I define the problem statement before solving the problem, which is the next step of design thinking. So empathizing, doing the gap analysis, following the skill progression, understanding the gaps, then defining the problem statement. Say for 10 students in the class, it was a gap in arrangement of data. For another 10 set of students, it was a problem in representation of data. And another 10 students did not know how to collect and observe data in their surroundings. Yeah?
Exactly.
Would you agree with me? Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Anurag,
Because
sir?
yes, ma'am. Government has also taken an initiative in the form of Nipun Bharat via NEP to augmenting the students' learning outcome through FLN. FLN means Foundation Literacy and Numeracy.
Yeah.
हिंदी सब बच्चे समझे भाषा और गणना. So what is their motto in throughout the nation? कि that by the end of the grade third, the child must be able to read properly, recognize, write properly, and doing some mathematical basic operations like addition, subtractions, and multiplication and division. The child must be ready. So this is the gap which is occurring everywhere in throughout the nation. If I talk about collectively as a whole, rather than in different terms, students after completing 5 standard are nowhere near to, the readout properly. And if the dictation will be spoken, so these things are coming into the existence. So I also started FLN Foundation Literacy and Numeracy in my school itself. We are focusing on each and every parameter of the child, right? We are keeping the different file for an individual, because in today's diverse classroom, ma'am, it is as important for a teacher to have different assessing ways to analyze an individual performance of the child. Because
Correct.
the
Learning
children of
journey is very important. Defining learning journey of every student with the help of a dipstick is something that we won't be able to avoid in the near future. And for
yes,
this,
we
only
will
design thinking is integral now. Yeah.
definitely, ma'am, so that we can get the better learning outcomes.
Correct,
So
sir.
the
So now
astronomy,
the role of technology in design thinking. So I think we both would agree that technology is indispensable now in schools, in classrooms. As you said that you are recording the data. So data for every interaction with the content. This is something a teacher needs to record. Say the diagnosis the teacher did. Then while teaching the chapter, the teacher might be asking a few questions in between so that the gap is not carried for a long period of time, so that a teacher does not know that one of my student was not able to understand, or 4 or 5 students were able to understand it well. So what they're doing is they're using a dipstick in between the session, wherein they have framed an assessment, or maybe they have written a few set of questions with good distractors. I would say these can be your multiple choice questions, and the distractors should be able to assess them on the misconceptions. These
Exactly.
distractors of the questions should be tagged to misconceptions so that you get a report on the interaction. So there, I would say the problem statement that was defined would be analyzed further. If I'm able to analyze the problem statement after defining the problem statement with the help of a questionnaire and do a prototype in the classroom. So doing prototype of everything that I design for using in the classroom becomes very important for me. But then these prototypes can be tested with the help of technology in a better way, where the teachers get a supporting environment. Say they need a different set of questions for assessing the diverse learners. So here the Blooms is very integral. So if I want to understand whether the student was able to observe, collect, so my question should have the verbs, Bloom verbs, wherein I am designing the assessment using those Bloom verbs. But they need immediate support. So there can be some tested question banks for them, which are there in their smart boards, and they're giving on the spot, I would say, assessments to the students, wherein maybe it can be a B2B2C model, sir, wherein the school is using tabs which are sharing reports with the teachers, or the students have some technology, some hardware where they're able to record their reports with the teachers, and that get recorded forever. And the student is somewhere knowing the gap analysis and recommendations according to the gaps with the help of technology and teacher intervention both. So maybe that homework assigned to one student will be different from the homework assigned to the other student. When you have diverse learners, so maybe a student who is striving to say secure 40 marks is different from the student who has already secured 60 and is upskilling to secure 70 or 80%. And at the same time, there are students who have already scored 80 to 90% in the classroom, but they are striving for 100% in the classroom. So catering to all the three kinds of learners, you need a different question set. I don't say that this is adaptive learning, but then yes, a different set of questions is needed by a teacher, and teachers even need a supporting environment. So here my problem statement gets intense without the use of technology, and I want to analyze the prototype that I created for my students, whether it is going to deliver the outcomes, whether I will be able to measure the outcomes. So this is something that design thinking is going to do in the classrooms, and it is going to create a big difference for the learners. And yes, for schools, the retention will also increase, retention of students, because when they feel involved, when they're interacting with the content, and when they get that personalized focus while learning, so they will definitely love to come to schools and interact with their teachers. I think as the principal principals must also be implementing such technologies in the classrooms, and different methods, varied methods to measure outcomes.
Yes, ma'am, only smart classes are being used, and first we were supposed to make the teachers trained about how to use it. So they are using the tech, but to some extent that until unless the teacher gave the thing to the students in the form of assessment. Assessment also is an integral part of the teaching and learning. So a continuous and comprehensive assessment is required to get better learning outcomes, ma'am. So as per a concern to the using the technology, teachers are using, but they are not at the par excellent level, right? So intermediately they are supposed to get the training so that they can make themselves update that what's going on
Correct.
in, as per
Correct, sir.
and P and NCF.
Correct.
My the problem, the biggest challenge is that here because the child's brain is a white marble. Whatever we will write on that, child will learn. So
Correct.
according to my point of view, first the teachers must be trained so that
Correct.
they can
Correct.
deliver academic content properly and fulfill the need of the hour, which is actually the need of the hour. To
Correct. Correct.
first, we are supposed to make the teachers trained.
Correct, sir. So Vishnu sir and Amar sir, I think you are going to play a big role in this because you have this initiative of training the teachers. Usha, what you would like to say here? Must
Yes,
be
ma'am.
very a school background and you are even working as a PGT English. So I would
Yes.
like to hear from you as well. What are you expecting from such solutions? Like what are your expectations from design thinking?
Ma'am,
See,
my
if I
expectations
want to
are,
test a prototype, if I want to do say iterations, if I want to give some recommendations, so maybe one student was able to achieve outcomes wherein I give them a remedial worksheet so that they improvise their percentage. But the other student needed a reteach method wherein they were not able to understand the concept. So it's difficult for them to go back to the teacher in the school and tell that, yeah, you please teach me again. So maybe they are using some YouTube models wherein they are listening to the lectures again to understand the same concept, or they are going to the tuitions. But yes, reteaching also is a necessity. The remedial worksheets, reteaching, making them recall. So all these practices are possible with the help of technology, wherein the technology intervenes for the betterment of students and a support system for teachers.
Yes, ma'am. Very beautiful question you have asked. Basically, as I talk about design thinking in education. So, what I want, in a classroom, there are various kinds of students, right? So, we should decide, group A, group B, and group C, right? Whenever the teacher
Okay.
enters the classroom, so it should be in his or her mind that the chapter which she is going to deliver in front of the students, how, first of all, how and what are the learning outcomes, how will the students grasp the
Correct.
knowledge. So it
Correct.
depends on the teacher, right? It a traditional method we shouldn't follow at all, because earlier this time also in most of the school it's going to be followed. We are just entering the classroom, we are just doing model reading in front of the students, then the question answers explained, but most of the students are not getting, right? A few students get to know all the things. Who are those students who are very much adaptive? Only those who are very much interested in book reading and all. We people as a teacher should force these students to inculcate good habits, experiential learning. If we force read the books again and again, if there is a science book, right, SST book, just read, go through. Don't We shouldn't focus on rote learning, right? YouTube
Correct.
videos are there, but if I say there is AI also, but I think AI has been made by we human beings only, right? So they that cannot replace the teachers at all, right?
Correct, correct. So
Right?
it's about technology only, I would say, Usha. It's not AI, it's about technology support for the teachers, wherein teachers
Yes.
are using certain tools for measuring the outcomes. Maybe the assessments are online. So blended is the way forward, I would say here, just for keeping a record of the learning. Blended is the way forward. And yes, teachers even need a support system. We all understand that day for a teacher is very taxing already, so they are doing so many activities. I mean, catering to say kinesthetic learners is actually very tough. Facilitating every learner in kinesthetic learning is not everyone's cup of tea. So teachers are already doing a very tough job, and I would say the COVID period taught them. I mean, one day they were turned to online teachers, all of them from offline mode. So change of modality is something that might interest students. Changing modalities, say the visual learner, the auditory learner would like to see, watch things and then learn. But an experiential learner would like to get immersed in the environment wherein they are learning on their own. At the same time, I have a child in classroom with whom I have to interact, involve in an activity. How many of you would say that kinesthetic learners are better learners than auditory learners or visual learners?
Obviously, ma'am, your statement, I can say, as you have told, whenever we focus on rote learning, as you are saying, that's not appropriate at all, right? Experiential statistic learning is better for the students, and it must be enhanced for the welfare of students. So how can it be enhanced? Whenever we'll train our teachers, right? So we
Correct.
should ensure the teachers should attend such kind of programs. If they will hone their ability, they will sharpen the brain of their students in all the activities, whether it is curricular and co-curricular activities, as per my views. And one more question, Anurag sir, here I would like to ask, please. How can educators effectively integrate design thinking into existing subjects areas like Hindi, English, maths, and all these subjects? So, how can it be integrated? design thinking?
See, ma'am, until or unless the teachers they are supposed to get the training of that, they must be tax savvy, right? Because the problems which are being faced by the teachers, they are not quite tax savvy. They cannot the use of technology properly, right? So first, we have to make the teachers trained, as I have already conveyed this message, right? So when they will be doing and using the technology as per the need of the hour, so definitely because learning is never an isolated process. It's an integration and interaction of different processes. If learning cannot be facilitated in an environment properly, it may never produce the best of the result, which is the need of the hour actually. So according to my point of view, every learning should be followed by the process of an assessment because a proper assessment tells us about the level and extent of learning and how much has been learned. Because a learner may commit an error on the continuous basis if learning process is not subjected to the evaluation. However, the parameters may be different for the different domain in the total, but the end result would be lucrative for the welfare of the students. So learning is never an isolated process. It's an integration and interaction of different processes. So the need of the hour and the challenges the mostly principals are facing, that is the quality of the teachers. The
Yes.
governments also take the quality of the teachers. They are having the knowledge, but they are not familiar that how to deliver the content for the welfare of the students, because different mindset is sitting in the classroom, and the teaching methodology, the same teaching methodology, is being implemented by the subject teacher. So this is the exactly problem which is being faced by a number of schools in India.
Okay, sir. One more thing is there. Many of these schools are facing obstacles in putting the design thinking in education. So, how can we overcome it? Various ideas and approaches can be there. So, you know, there are many obstacles that we are unable to, implant this design thinking in the education. So, how can we broaden this aspect in the field of education?
We according to my point of view, the first and foremost is that the teachers should take on the first the entrepreneur must take initiative that the classroom should be digitalized and all the teachers should get the training time to time, right? Motivating of the teachers, and we have to also insist the teachers that you have to use the technology, you have to use all the tools so that the students can grasp the things in the easiest mode. So entrepreneur who is supposed to inbuild the system in the school, and time to time training and the workshop must be conducted so that teachers can make themselves update. So this is the gap which occurs because the trainings are not being taken by the teachers. If I talk about CBP, sometime it happens the capacity building programs were conducted, but teachers did not attend because the lack of time. So it's a joint venture to get the task accomplished. So parents, teachers, and students are the three primarily responsible to mold the future of a country. So design thinking, it's a tech based, if I'm not wrong. So the teachers should have the keen interest towards that. Okay, that I will be upgrading myself in this modern competitive era where the competition is being aggrandized day by day. So this is the duty of the pedagogical leader of the school, along with the entrepreneur, to provide each and every facilities so that the teachers can deliver the things in a very lucrative manner for the welfare of the students and for the welfare of the society too. What I exactly think, and that some schools are facing means they are not having in fact a single digital classroom. They are nowhere near to adhere with the tech. They are only using vector marker, chalkboard, only this. Teaching aids are being used. No specific aids are being used by the teacher. So, need of
Raj sir,
yes,
Raj
sir.
sir, sorry for
Yes.
interrupting you. I request Vishnu sir to play particular video I have sent in the group so that
Yes.
what is the design thinking exactly, how it is going to work within these schools. Vishnu sir,
Yes, definitely,
uh,
sir. Definitely, I'm going to present one video
ha-
actually that can show the more effectively on this design thinking. So just a minute, I'm sharing my screen. Uh,
By the way, Saloni ma'am and Anurag sir, you had poured out your views in a very effective manner, because I know it very well.
Usha
It
ma'am,
would be very
Usha ma'am,
beneficial for
please,
the.
Usha ma'am, please mute your mic. I'm sharing my
Yes,
video.
yes.
Yes.
Right to graduate with
Yes.
an I can mindset. When you meet a child anywhere in the world, they go from crawling to standing to running to thinking to laughing. And just when they're telling the world, look at me, I can, we send them to school. Right? And we say, oh, you can run? Sorry, you have to sit down. You can think and talk. That's wrong, you have to listen. That is what I encountered firsthand with my child. So I took him out of school. I said, I can do a better job. So when I took him out, I don't think it was with the big story of changing the world or, changing education and all of that. It was just my child. And at that time, I was running a design firm. The fact that I didn't come from education, I was not bothered by the size of what I was setting out to do. So that's really what allowed me to be audacious.
Good morning, thank you. Good morning.
As a designer, I was very inspired by design thinking. So to start by questioning the status quo is what design thinking tells us to do. It starts with empathy. It starts with the user. Who is it for? What does success look like? Okay, and then what should I do to ensure that I achieve it? So for the longest time, education has made the parent the primary stakeholder. Parent wants exam, parent wants homework, parent wants this. The children became incidental to the program. When you put the child back front and center, they will shape the story.
So, good morning, everyone. It's time for the shout outs.
Our children became our designers right off. They designed the uniform, they became clients for the architect. It was a genuine collaboration. It was just that belief that it's your space. We are crafting the final curriculum. We want you to graduate with the idea of I can.
We know that we are responsible for our own learning, so that's why we are much more proactive.
Today we offer a curriculum that is built on design thinking framework. If you look at every design process, they will have ideate, explore, define, prototype, product. But we simplified it. We call it FIDS, Feel, Imagine, Do, Share.
Okay, Alaya is going to make the uniform which can be used
Both the sides.
both the sides.
To understand what they might be going through, what can we do?
3, 2, 1, go! Keep going, guys, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going!
So for 15 years, if we use the same design thinking framework, they graduate with an I can mindset. This belief that I can do it. So I think that idea of questioning the status quo is what we need to do in education. We don't realize that the choice can be us, that we are who we've been waiting for. That is the mindset we owe our children, so they shine and they thrive. That's what I want to give to every child.
So this was this video that is showing about what I can, the confidence that occurs while the students say I can do. So that is the main important of design and thinking. So
Yeah, design.
yeah.
So,
Over to Saloni ma'am.
Vishnu sir, yeah, Vishnu sir, what I would like to ask the audience here, I would like to involve the audience here. How are they implementing design thinking in their classrooms? What are their expectations? I mean, what is this operation? I mean, what is the SOP they follow in their classrooms? standard operating process where they must first empathize with the student, analyze the problem, define the problem. Yeah, so defining the problem and then giving solutions to the problem in the form of the effective lesson plans that would work. That is prototyping the problem. Now, the solution, prototyping the solution. Then, after prototyping the solution, testing it in the classroom. Then evolving, say, feedback from the students, feedback from the learners, feedback from the teachers, feedback from the parents. Everything matters. And yes, above all, feedback from the management. So whether we were able to improvise or not, then giving, say, a better approach to the same prototype. The prototypes even evolve day by day. So these processes, they need to be defined for the classrooms where the teachers are themselves putting in the shoe of the student, considering that they do not all fit to the same level, and I have to design a different approach for all the learners. So this is how a teacher can, Usha, ma'am, if you can share my PPT and show the SOP to the audience. And I would like the audience to get involved here. We can interact effectively, so that I get questions from you and we are able to answer the doubts in your minds. How are you going to achieve this in your classroom? Or have you also been trying to use design thinking in the classrooms? What outcomes did you achieve? What were the gaps left, and where you thought that learning or training would help you better? So yeah. So when I say that this is how I can implement design thinking into my classroom effectively, but then maybe I have different kind of students in the classroom, but at the same time, Anurag sir has different kinds of students. And when it comes to language teaching, Usha, you must be having different kinds of students in the classrooms, if
Yeah, yeah,
I'm right,
of course, ma'am.
right? So your design thinking would different from, say, a teacher who is teaching mathematics or who is teaching science. So a science teacher would like to give more of experiential learning. Math teacher would like to give more of different set of practice questions, and language teacher would like to give LSRW activities. So how you all feel that design thinking, implementing design thinking in the classroom is different for you all? We can remain at the SOP slide, Usha ma'am. We can remain at the SOP slides. So are the audience willing to ask any questions? Are we getting any questions, Usha?
Yes, Vishnu sir, can we? Yes, we can ask the questions, ma'am. First question which I received here is, we are incorporating good things among the students, but sometimes, here the topic is design thinking in education. But most of the time, what happens? Students are unable to be social. They are not having interpersonal skills. So somehow, I think parents are supporting their children. So how can we cope up with this problem? Don't touch my child, don't shout. Sometimes we sometimes pitches too much loud a little bit, right? It shouldn't be done, but my question is, they are unable to be social, they are not socializing themselves. So how can it be coped up? How can we come out of this problem?
So, as I started with empathy, see, empathy is something that can help you build rapport with the student, with the child, give that personal touch, and then developing the same rapport with the parents. Just because you were concerned for the child, you were able to analyze the gaps very softly, and then you silently designed a solution for that without letting the child know that you are a different learner. Yeah. So that touches the parents. And when you are able to win the confidence of the parent that, yes, this is the teaching methodology, this pedagogy is going to help my child, then only it's possible for the parent and the student to follow you, to be with you in what you are trying to do with them, to what you are attempting. The modality that you will suggest, the activity that you will suggest will become foremost for them. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, ma'am, you are right. uh, so I'm just
So rather than saying that this is the weak area, I would say that this is the improvement area. Your child is good at all these 5 things, but these are the improvement areas I have analyzed. So I would like to work upon them. Say I will give some extra hours or extra efforts to your child. Are you ready to support for that extra effort that I'm going to give? I'll travel an extra mile to deliver that extra to your child, and I am equally concerned that your child should be able to achieve the same level of outcomes that the other students are achieving or that the other students have achieved. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, ma'am.
So defining their problem and then suggesting them a solution. Ideating to give solution to their problem and then talking about solution, then problems. I think that makes all the difference. That makes all the difference. Yeah, Usha?
Yeah, of course, ma'am, you are right. So now, as it has been written over, bringing design thinking to life in your classroom. So as you have mentioned here, a few things are here which are very important. Start small, encourage student voice, make learning hands on. So kindly pour out your views over here, ma'am.
So yeah, I would like to talk about these as well. So when I say that start small, start small means do not pour the entire learning to the students. Just introduce the topic in a seamless manner, make them curious so that they ask you questions and then answering them, then building the relation with the topic that you are going to teach in the classroom is a different design from the existing designs in the classrooms where we start directly with the topics. So maybe winning that heart in that particular session of say 10 minutes or 5 minutes in the classroom where you started with giving them some curious starters or warm-up activities and they were involved in it. So makes all the difference.
Okay, next slide. I'm okay, fine. Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
Anytime, Usha.
Uh,
Do we have
Absolutely,
more
ma'am.
questions from the
Ma'am,
audience? Do we have more
you
questions?
can stop sharing now, Usha ma'am. Yeah. So now, ma'am, there is one question from viewer side.
Yeah,
See,
please.
the viewers are asking that how we can implement design thinking in the classroom, the easiest way that can be elaborate in day-to-day life, day-to-day teaching.
So करेक्ट सर. सो व्हेन आई से दैट डे टू डे टीचिंग, देखिए डे टू डे टीचिंग में मेरे साथ प्रॉब्लम्स सबसे पहले तो मेरे स्टूडेंट्स, मेरे जो डेली स्टूडेंट्स हैं, अलग अलग ग्रेड्स के स्टूडेंट्स हैं और अलग अलग सब्जेक्ट्स के टीचर्स के लिए अलग अलग सेट ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उनको एनालाइज करना, उनके गैप्स को समझना, दैट इज एम्पैथाइजिंग विद द स्टूडेंट्स. द फर्स्ट स्टेप व्हेन डिजाइन थिंकिंग से कि आप एम्पैथाइज कीजिए मींस उनकी स्टेट को समझिए, wear their shoe and understand what problems they have from the previous grades. So maybe they are shy in sharing. Give them a silent test wherein you observe the misconception in their mind. जैसे वो अपने डाउट टीचर को बता देते हैं ना कि ये मेरे दिमाग में डाउट है, तो वो मिसकंसेप्शन है कहीं ना कहीं. वो मिसकंसेप्शन को आपने क्वेश्चन के रूप माध्यम से समझ लिया, रादर देन आपने उसको डांट के बोला कि ये भी नहीं आता तुम्हें. So this is my first step towards building in my empathy in my classroom. Then defining the problem statement. अच्छा ये misconceptions, so ये 10 misconceptions थी मेरे 50 students के अंदर. अब ये 10 misconceptions को मुझे एड्रेस करना है और एड्रेस करके फिर मुझे टॉपिक पे आना है पढ़ाने के लिए, राइट? अब ये 10 misconceptions को मैं कैसे एड्रेस करूंगी? या तो मैं उन्हें प्रीवियस ग्रेड्स का पढ़ाऊंगी या मैं उन्हें कोई वीडियो दे दूंगी होमवर्क के लिए कि आप ये वीडियो देख लीजिएगा, राइट? या मैं उन्हें वो प्रैक्टिस एक्सरसाइज दूंगी, मे बी उनको वो फॉर्मूला ही नहीं याद था जो प्रीवियस ग्रेड से उन्हें लेके आना था. अब मैंने उनकी प्रॉब्लम को बहुत अच्छे से डिफाइन कर लिया. अब मैं आइडिएट करूंगी सोल्यूशन. आइडिएट करूंगी सोल्यूशन मींस कि मेरी सोल्यूशन जो है वो गैप को एड्रेस कर दे और मेरा नया चैप्टर भी सीमलेस वे में शुरू हो जाए. तो वो सीमलेस वे में जब मैंने चैप्टर इंट्रोड्यूस कर लिया तो मैं थोड़ा विन विन सिचुएशन में आ जाती हूँ, राइट? वो मेरा एक सक्सेसफुल प्रोटोटाइप बन गया जो मैंने फॉलो किया. अब इस प्रोटोटाइप को क्लास में मुझे टेस्ट करना है। प्रोटोटाइपिंग जब मैंने कर ली तो अब मुझे इसे क्लासरूम में, और मेरा डेटा साइज, मेरे ऑडियंस साइज बड़ा होना चाहिए टेस्ट के लिए। इट इज नॉट दैट आई एम टेस्टिंग ऑन 5 स्टूडेंट्स, आई एम नॉट टेस्टिंग दैट प्रोटोटाइप ऑन 10 स्टूडेंट्स। मुझे अलग अलग ग्रेड्स में, अपने ग्रेड 4 में एक प्रोटोटाइप टेस्ट किया, ग्रेड 5 में एक प्रोटोटाइप टेस्ट किया, ग्रेड 6 में एक प्रोटोटाइप टेस्ट किया। हर ग्रेड का मेरा प्रोटोटाइप अलग बनेगा, मेरा हर ग्रेड का, क्योंकि मेरा हर सब्जेक्ट में हर चैप्टर का लेसन प्लान अलग बनेगा, और उसमें जो मेरे डाइवर्स लर्नर की नीड्स होंगी वो अलग अलग होंगी। तो डाइवर्स लर्नर की नीड्स को एनालाइज करके मैं अपने प्रोटोटाइप को और इवॉल्व करूंगी। I think I was able to answer.
Yeah,
Amarjeet?
ma'am. The next question is from the viewer side. So
हाँ
there are
जी।
4 pillars of the design and thinking in the classroom, in the education. Number one is empathy. Second one is collaborations. The third one is inclusion, and fourth is repeat. So viewers are asking what it does mean.
तो देखिए, आपको मैंने बताया कोलैबोरेट करूंगी मैं, स्टूडेंट को एम्पैथाइज करके मैंने कोलैबोरेट किया, मैं फैसिलिटेटर बन गया, एक टीचर फैसिलिटेटर बन गया उनके लिए, और वो टीचर उनको हर तरह की मोडालिटी से लर्निंग करने का एफर्ट कर रहा है, राइट। फिर उनको इंक्लूड करा मैंने, उनको इन्वॉल्व किया। क्लासरूम्स जो मेरे हैं वो इंक्लूसिव होने चाहिए, हर तरह के लर्नर को, मुझे डाइवर्स लर्नर नीड्स के साथ मुझे उसे इन्वॉल्व करना है लर्निंग में। इन्वॉल्व करने के लिए मुझे हर तरह की मोडालिटी चाहिए क्लासरूम में, एंड हेंस आई सेड कि टेक्नोलॉजी की सपोर्ट बहुत जरूरी हो गई है। विजुअल लर्नर के लिए अलग मेथड है, ऑडिटरी के अलग मेथड है, किनेस्थेटिक लर्नर के लिए मेरा अलग मेथड है। फिर मेरे डिफरेंशिएटेड इंस्ट्रक्शन के साथ मेरी असेसमेंट्स भी अलग अलग हैं हर एक के लिए, सो दैट दे आर वन स्टेप अहेड इन द नेक्स्ट डे। ठीक है सर। और लास्ट में जो आप मुझे बता रहे हैं कि मेरे को, देखिए उस चीज को मुझे जब मैंने टेस्ट कर लिया क्लास में, तो मुझे हो सकता है मुझे रीटीच करना पड़े स्टूडेंट को। maybe I succeed, maybe I fail। अगर मेरा प्रोटोटाइप प्रॉपर डेफिनेट स्टेटमेंट पे बना हुआ था, और वो स्टेटमेंट को मैंने अच्छे से आइडिएट किया था, उसके ऊपर मैंने जो अपना लेसन प्लान था मैंने उसको आइडिएट कर दिया था बहुत अच्छे से। आइडिएट करने के बाद अगर मेरे को मेरे डिजायर्ड रिजल्ट्स नहीं आए मेरे प्रोटोटाइप की टेस्टिंग से, तो मुझे उसको फिर इटरेट करना पड़ेगा। इटरेट करने के लिए मुझे अलग मोडालिटी चाहिए हो सकती है। हो सकता है अब की बार मैं सिर्फ उन्हें सिमुलेटेड एनवायरनमेंट में करवा दूं ये एक्टिविटी, हो सकता है कि मैं उनको एक फील्ड ट्रिप पे ले जाऊं। ठीक है, एक छोटे बच्चे को नहीं पता चल रहा कि पल्स कैसे काउंट करनी है, राइट, तो मैं प्रैक्टिकल लैब में लेके जाऊंगी तो पल्स नहीं काउंट करने आएगी। मैं नॉर्मल उनको कोलैबोरेशन में एक एक्टिविटी दे दूंगी, तो हो सकता है वो लोग नहीं अच्छे से काउंट कर सकें। फिर मैं उनको ये भी बताना चाहूंगी कि देखिए, व्हेन यू वर स्टेबल, व्हेन यू वर सिटिंग, तो आपका पल्स काउंट डिफरेंट था। व्हेन यू वर रनिंग के बाद जब आप आए आपका पल्स काउंट डिफरेंट है। So this is the difference that I need to make in my classrooms through offering various approaches towards learning and then giving outcomes to the students. Before measuring outcomes, it becomes my duty to deliver outcomes in the classrooms. Yeah. Then framing assessments to measure करके भी अगर मेरे पास रिपोर्ट नहीं आ रही है, 30% स्टूडेंट्स मेरे 45 से 60 के ब्रैकेट में हैं, 30% स्टूडेंट्स मेरे 60 to 80 के ब्रैकेट में हैं, और रिमेनिंग 35 मेरे 80 to 100 के ब्रैकेट में हैं। एज अ टीचर, एज अ पेरेंट, आई वुड लाइक टू आस्क कि मेरा बच्चा 35 से 60 या 40 से 60 के ब्रैकेट में क्यों है, वो 80 से 100 वाली ब्रैकेट में क्यों नहीं है।
Ma'am, one question from viewer side. We need flexible curriculum for inclusive education.
करेक्ट सर, बिल्कुल ठीक है। देखिए, इंक्लूसिविटी बहुत बहुत बड़ी है, बहुत वास्ट है। इंक्लूसिव व्हेन आई से, तो देन आई नीड टू इंक्लूड students
The
of
question
all.
is from Miss Seema Thakur Jaswal.
Okay. So Seema ma'am, if you want, you can share your problem in detail with us. But when I say inclusive classroom, so you need to first identify the types of learners in your classrooms. Flexible.
Definitely, ma'am.
या सो जब आपने डाइवर्स लर्नर्स की नीड्स को आइडेंटिफाई कर लिया, देन यू कैन आस्क योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन टू ऑफर अ डिफरेंट करिकुलम. I cannot say that. Say, children with special need cannot be fit in your CBSE curriculum, but yes, CBSE has even defined special curriculum for students with special needs. Yeah, so there are many schools, many classrooms, many teachers emerging to help students with, I would say, special needs. But when it comes to diverse learners, say you have some students who are from varied linguistic backgrounds, then how are you going to cater such students? When I say English is a global language, but now what NCF is offering is vernacular syllabus, vernacular books, vernacular videos. So this is what is the new offering. Identifying the types of learners, listing the types of learners is your first duty. Second duty is creating a separate lesson plan for them. Third duty is executing them with the help of supporting teachers and technology in the classrooms. And fourth is not taking them all at the same levels. So you have to accept, parents have to accept that they will deliver varied outcomes. Then designing assessments, then designing supporting techniques to bring them to a better level of outcome is the need of the hour.
Ma'am, next question is Miss from Renu Punj. What
Okay.
can do for below average students?
देखिए ये बिलो एवरेज स्टूडेंट मैंने डिफाइन कर दिया. आई कैन नॉट जज अ स्टूडेंट कि वो बिलो एवरेज था. मे बी उसका कोई स्किल गैप था प्रीवियस ग्रेड. दिस इज व्हाट आई सेड इन द बिगनिंग कि मुझे एम्पैथाइज करना होगा और उसका जो प्रीवियस ग्रेड का गैप है वो गैप को पहले फिल करके फिर उसे चैप्टर पढ़ाना होगा. अगर मैं सोच रही हूँ कि मैं 40 स्टूडेंट्स को नया चैप्टर पढ़ा रही हूँ क्योंकि वो पिछली ग्रेड में पास होके ग्रेड 4 में पास होके ग्रेड 5 में आए हैं, ग्रेड 7 में पास होके ग्रेड 8 में आए हैं. सो आई थिंक आई नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड कि हो सकता है कि उनके मार्क्स 100 तो नहीं आए थे, उनके मार्क्स 60 भी आए थे, 70 भी आए थे. तो कोई चैप्टर उनको अच्छे से समझ आया था और कोई चैप्टर के उनके क्वेश्चंस गलत भी थे. सो व्हेन वी आर बिल्डिंग अ डिसिप्लिन, मान लीजिए एक स्टैटिस्टिक्स एक डिसिप्लिन है, तो वो डिसिप्लिन में मेरे को प्रीवियस ग्रेड का गैप पता होना चाहिए. लैंग्वेज में मुझे रीडिंग स्किल्स पता होनी चाहिए, मुझे वकैब पता होनी चाहिए कि प्रीवियस वकैब को अंडरस्टैंड करने का स्टूडेंट का क्या लेवल है. मैथ्स में मुझे ये चेक करना पड़ेगा कि क्या उनको प्रीवियस फॉर्मूलाज याद हैं कि नहीं याद है. देन असिस्टिंग देम विद सम मोडालिटी एज अ सोल्यूशन कि आप पहले ये वाले मोडालिटी से अपने गैप को एड्रेस कर लीजिए, then come to my classroom or I will help you address this gap, and then I will start with a new chapter so that all the students are at the same level. Below average, average and above average are three categories defined by us, wherein when we have to cater to varied learners, तो हम क्या करते हैं, कोशिश हमारी क्या होती है कि हम उनको अलग अलग लेवल ऑफ असेसमेंट दे देते हैं.
Definitely,
Right?
ma'am. Actually, in one of the student in my school, but actually he was defined as a below learner, below average
Okay.
student by the teachers.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
started observing and find that he is very good player.
Oh,
He's
wow.
he's very good player, and then I started supporting to him. I gave the coaching accordingly, and now he is playing for the national level. He won
Great.
so many models.
करेक्ट सर. सो आई वुड इवन लाइक टू से दैट यहाँ पे मल्टीडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच लेनी चाहिए, इंटरडिसिप्लिनरी अप्रोच लेनी चाहिए मुझे. सो
Ma'am,
बिल्डिंग
one question from your side, that the teamwork can be the same with the design thinking, or it is some other part of the teaching, or we can do the means jointly work with the team working and the design thinking. Are both are the same things or different one?
देखिए
विष्णु सर, सुनो
Yes,
मैम,
sir.
जस्ट थोड़ा सा इंटरप्ट करूंगा, माफी चाहता हूँ, लेकिन मैं एग्जैक्टली चाहता हूँ कि व्यूअर्स को डिजाइन थिंकिंग एग्जैक्टली है क्या. सीधे साधे शब्दों में अगर हम लोग समझा दें कि एग्जैक्टली व्हाट इज डिजाइन थिंकिंग, आइदर इट इज टीम वर्क, आइदर इट इज इंडिविजुअल वर्क. लेकिन जहां तक मैं समझता हूँ कि वी हैव गो थ्रू दी दैट पर्टिकुलर मूवी तारे जमीन पे. अगर हम लोगों ने तारे जमीन पे देखी होगी, वी हैव टू closely watch the role of Amir Khan, how he is going to pick that particular child to gain the academic standards. That is the particular design thinking.
sir, this is what I am saying, empathizing with the student. Right, empathizing with the student is my first step, but for that I need a diagnosis, a silent diagnosis, wherein I'm not telling the gaps to the student, but I'm myself observing the gaps and giving solution without scolding the students, because I know that they are not all the same level of learners. मैंने सबसे पहले ही बताया था कि diverse learners होते हैं मेरी क्लास में. डाइवर्स लर्निंग नीड्स होती हैं उनकी, और अगर मैं फिट फॉर ऑल लेके चलूंगी क्लासरूम में कि मैं तो ऐसे ही पढ़ाऊंगी और सभी को आउटकम अचीव होना चाहिए, तो पॉसिबल नहीं है क्लास में. आई कैन नॉट, अ टीचर कैन नॉट बी रिजिड, अ टीचर हैज टू बी अ फैसिलिटेटर. अभी मैंने आपको बताया कि मेरी एम्पैथी से मेरे को समझ में आया कि ये वाला स्टूडेंट तो सुन के समझ लेता है, सुन के इसको याद हो जाता है, बट ये स्टूडेंट ऐसा है जिसको जब तक मैं ड्रॉ करके नहीं दूंगी या मैं कोई वीडियो के हेल्प से नहीं समझाऊंगी तो इस स्टूडेंट को नहीं समझ में आएगा. और एट द सेम टाइम आई हैव 10 स्टूडेंट्स जिनको मैं जब तक एक्टिविटी में इन्वॉल्व नहीं करूंगी, आई एम नॉट इन्वॉल्विंग देम. व्हेन आई से एक्टिविटी, सो दैट इज पीयर एक्टिविटी, कोलैबोरेटिव एक्टिविटी. आप ये बोल रहे हैं कि क्या टीचर को कोलैबोरेशन में पढ़ाना है या स्टूडेंट के लिए कोलैबोरेटिव एक्टिविटी? टीचर्स का कोलैबोरेशन, मान लीजिए कि मैंने आज यहाँ पे एक ग्रेड में मैंने संज्ञा पढ़ानी शुरू की है. तो संज्ञा मैंने जिस भी क्लास में, मान लीजिए ग्रेड 2 में मैं संज्ञा पढ़ानी शुरू कर रही हूँ, तो एट द सेम टाइम मुझे इंग्लिश में भी नाउन पढ़ाना शुरू करना पड़ेगा. सो देयर टीचर्स नीड टू कोलैबोरेट. अगर मुझे ग्रेड 9 में मुझे कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री एज अ सब्जेक्ट पढ़ाना है सर, तो कोऑर्डिनेट ज्योमेट्री सब्जेक्ट जब तक मैं नहीं पढ़ा दूंगी, चैप्टर नहीं पढ़ा दूंगी, तो मैं फिजिक्स के ग्रेड में सॉल्यूशंस ऑफ इक्वेशंस ऑफ मोशन ग्राफिकली नहीं पढ़ा सकती. तो यहाँ टीचर्स को भी कोलैबोरेट करना बहुत जरूरी है. सो व्हेन यू डेवलप अ डिजाइन एट अ लेवल ऑफ स्कूल, इट इज फर्स्ट द डिजाइन इन एजुकेशन, देन द डिजाइन इन अ पर्टिकुलर ग्रेड, एंड देन डिजाइन इन द क्लासरूम.
One question,
एक
actually एक combined question आ रहा है from so many viewers. The parent one, I'm mixing all the questions in one question. Parents are not supportive, students are not listening. Then what to do? And what
देखिए,
can we do, ma'am? And how it is possible in just 40 minutes period?
देखिए
This is
40 मिनट,
actually a big task for the teachers.
I understand. I mean, it's not easy for teachers. बहुत टैक्सिंग होता है टीचर्स के लिए. स्टूडेंट्स को विन करना, स्टूडेंट्स के हार्ट को विन करना इज नॉट इजी फॉर टीचर्स. एंड एट द सेम टाइम पेरेंट्स की भी सपोर्ट मिले. सो पेरेंट्स हो सकते हैं, मान लीजिए मैं पेरेंट्स की सपोर्ट को मैं नेग्लिजिबल मान लेती हूँ, क्योंकि पेरेंट्स हो सकता है दोनों वर्किंग है और सारा दिन वो बच्चे को टाइम नहीं दे पाते हैं. एज अ टीचर मुझे ही आउटकम डिलीवर करनी है. सो मैं व्हाई नॉट, आई हैव टेक्नोलॉजी एज माय फ्रेंड. Why not I start using technology as my support system? और टेक्नोलॉजी की कुछ एक्सरसाइजेस मैंने जैसे बताया कि किसी बच्चे को सिमुलेटेड एनवायरनमेंट में अच्छा समझ में आएगा, किसी को गेम बेस्ड लर्निंग में अच्छा समझ आएगा, किसी को एक्टिविटी से अच्छा समझ में आएगा, किसी को ऑब्जर्वेशन से अच्छा समझ में आता है, किसी को फील्ड ट्रिप से अच्छा समझ में आता है. सो एज ए टीचर मुझे फैसिलिटेटर बन के अलग अलग मोडालिटीज अप्लाई करनी पड़ेंगी. एंड एट द सेम टाइम आजकल यूट्यूब पे बहुत सारे रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स आपको मिल जाते हैं. सो रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स बच्चों को सजेस्ट कीजिए कि व्हेन यू नीड टू रिवाइज अ कॉन्सेप्ट, ईदर कम एंड आस्क मी और यू आर फ्री टू यूज दीज रिकॉर्डेड लेक्चर्स. ये टीचर भी बहुत अच्छा पढ़ा रहे हैं, आप घर जाके ये लेक्चर दोबारा.
Over to Amar sir. Amar sir want to say something. Yes, Amar sir.
हाँ जी सर.
basically just I want to ask one of my speakers, Lori ma'am, हम लगातार बात कर रहे हैं यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी. ऑल्दो वी आर इन द एज ऑफ मशीन लर्निंग एंड सम other technological tools we are going to use within the our teaching. लेकिन दिक्कत ये है कि whenever we are going to talk about our particular nation, whenever we have to have almost 700, more than 700 districts and more than 30,000 villages, and we do have a different and diverse topography where these internet connections or such expensive tools, the schools can't borrow that particular in their system. How technology is going to help while putting this design thinking in the school curriculum?
I agree with you, Amar sir, that it's way to go for us. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 cities में teaching methodology same नहीं हो सकती. We cannot standardize teaching. And this is what NEP is trying to achieve through blended platforms. जो blended teaching platforms हैं, जो online उन्होंने recorded lectures दिए हैं दीक्षा ऐप में. एंड देन इफ आई टॉक अबाउट, बहुत सारे मार्केट में प्लेयर्स हैं जो आपको इसमें सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. यूट्यूब इज समथिंग दैट इज, आई थिंक दैट हैज रीच्ड एवरीवेयर, राइट. फिर भी अगर आप ये कह रहे हैं कि 10, 20, 30% वो एरियाज जहाँ पे बिल्कुल टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है, सर वहां पे अगर टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है तो टीचर्स को एटलीस्ट ट्रेन करना हमारी फोरमोस्ट ड्यूटी बनती है कि आप वन फिट फॉर ऑल सोल्यूशन लेकर क्लासरूम्स में मत चलिए. यू जस्ट ट्राई गेटिंग इन टच विद स्टूडेंट्स, पहले उनको आप उनके साथ बैठिए, उनको समझिए, आपका एक क्वेश्चनर होना चाहिए, आपके पास कुछ असेसमेंट्स ऐसी बनी होनी चाहिए जो कि सीमलेस असेसमेंट्स हो, आप उनके साथ इंटरेक्ट कर रहे हैं, बात कर रहे हैं और आप उनकी प्रॉब्लम को समझ रहे हैं। आजकल तो सर सोशल इमोशनल लर्निंग भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो गई है। हो सकता है एक
डेफिनेटली
बच्चा इमोशनली स्ट्रांग ही नहीं है अभी लर्निंग के लिए, ये तो बात वो हो गई ना कि वेरियस काइंड्स ऑफ लर्नर्स। अब बच्चा इमोशनल इतना वीक है कि वो लर्निंग को रिटेन ही नहीं कर पाता, उसके दिमाग में इतनी प्रॉब्लम चलती हैं कि वो लर्निंग को रिटेन ही नहीं कर पाता। तो दैट इज ऑल्सो वन सिचुएशन। सो एक टीचर के पास कितनी सिचुएशंस है, दैट माइट वेरी फ्रॉम प्लेस टू प्लेस, और डेमोग्राफिक्स अलग हैं और कल्चरल वेरिएशंस हैं, लिंग्विस्टिक वेरिएशंस हैं. There are so many things a teacher has to deal with, but let me tell you, there is some solution to every problem. Problem solving approach ही तो design thinking लेके आए हैं.
थैंक यू मैम। एग्जैक्टली अगर हम लोग बात करते हैं ना डिजाइन थिंकिंग की, जहां तक मैं जो समझा हूँ व्हाइल पुटिंग दिस टॉपिक फॉर दिस वेबिनार, तो सर मेरी समझ में यही आया कि एग्जैक्टली कि वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड एग्जैक्टली स्टूडेंट्स हमसे चाहते क्या है और हाउ दे आर गोइंग टू डिलीवर देयर आईक्यू लेबर विद इन दी सिस्टम्स। तो मैं जब भी इस टॉपिक के लिए तैयार हो रहा था तो
करेक्ट,
यस मैम,
मुझे लाइफ के लिए प्रिपेयर करना है, मुझे पेपर के लिए प्रिपेयर नहीं करना. एज प्राइमरी सेट की इंटरपर्सनल स्किल्स, इंट्रापर्सनल स्किल्स, इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस, ये सब चीजें भी मुझे स्टूडेंट को एज एन आउटकम देना है. मुझे स्किल भी, मुझे कॉम्पिटेंसी भी एज एन आउटकम देना है. अब आजकल कॉम्पिटेंसी बेस्ड जो एजुकेशन हम लोगों ने क्वेश्चनर्स इंट्रोड्यूस किए हैं. अब एक बच्चा, मैं आपको यहाँ एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ. मैंने मेंसुरेशन पढ़ाया, मैंने उनको पेरीमीटर पढ़ा दिया, मैंने उन्हें एरिया पढ़ा दिया, बट प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ का मैंने उनको कोई एग्जाम्पल नहीं दिया. सो इफ आई वांट अ स्टूडेंट ऑफ माइन टू गो विद द पेरेंट, जिस घर में रेनोवेशन चल रही है, कि आप अपने फादर के साथ जाइए, देखिए कि आपके रूम में क्या रूम का एरिया था और कितनी टाइल्स आपको चाहिए, एक टाइल का एरिया इतना है और कितनी टाइल्स आपके रूम में लगेंगी. दिस काइंड ऑफ competencies that we need to deliver through our education, so that a student is confident in all the situations of life. So this is not an easy path, a tough path
And
for
one,
teachers.
it is general question from the viewer side, and it is in our everyday life. How can we divert the students from using the mobile phone in the positive way?
So this is only the technology as a solution can help. This is where the technology as a solution can help them with the apps. आप उन्हें लैपटॉप दीजिए, बट लैपटॉप जो है आप कस्टमाइज करवा दीजिए उनका, कि अलग अलग उसमें एजुकेशन प्लेटफॉर्म्स होंगे, गेम बेस्ड लर्निंग होगी, सिमुलेशंस होंगी, सो दैट दे आर यूजिंग दैट एज अ बुक रादर देन. आप टेक्नोलॉजी अगर स्टूडेंट को दे रहे हैं या आपने उनको फोन हाथ में दिया, फोन सिर्फ ऑनलाइन क्लास के लिए तो नहीं होता. अब छोटे बच्चे हैं, आप YouTube बंद कर दीजिए, YouTube किड्स शुरू कर दीजिए, बच्चे के डिस्ट्रैक्शन खत्म, डिविएशन खत्म. आप उसको इतने इंटरेस्टिंग असेसमेंट्स उसमें डाल दीजिए, उसमें 3D मॉडल्स उसको डाउनलोड कर दीजिए लर्निंग के लिए, so that the student knows that there is a lot that I can explore in this mobile. Customize it according to the need of the student. I don't say that they can perfectly be stopped from deviating, but then there is a lot that parents even can do to stop them from being deviated or distracted. Any other?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. One thing I would like to address my viewers kindly before we end the webinar, I request all the participants to submit the feedback form. The link will be given in the description box to get their training certificates. And at that time, you have to fill your right email ID. That is very much indispensable. That's much only.
I would like to say one thing to all the viewers. First of all, I would like to thank to my esteemed speakers, Miss Saloni and other speaker. Secondly, I would like to say thanks, big thanks to Amar sir, who have managed all the arrangements of this webinar. A very good thanks to Usha Sharma ma'am, who has organized this, who has managed this webinar. And all the viewers, this time we have approached tentatively more than 1100 viewers in this meeting, in this webinar. So this is informative webinar that was conducted by the Learning Heights, and basically Learning Heights is committed to the schools to give the solution for every field, every domain of the school where they required, and we do not charge any kind of money. The Learning Height is standing with the schools without charging any kind of money. So, thank you so much for everyone who have managed this event, managed this webinar, and to the viewers also.
अमर
Yes,
सर,
Amar
आप कुछ
sir.
कहना चाह रहे हैं?
Yes,
Yeah.
Amar sir.
नहीं, basically I want to thank certain schools who supported us in our use. Basically, it is Kal Academies from Punjab, Jalandhar regions, and DABs from this Faridabad or Delhi regions, and some more schools. Basically, बहुत सारे नाम हैं जिनको मैं लूंगा नहीं. Harsh International School जी. तो
all the
ये schools
schools
हैं
all,
exact.
all the schools
हाँ,
that they have supported the Learning Heights, then they have registered. And one more thing, some teachers are saying the certificate that will be issued by the Learning Heights, is it means accepted by the CBSE training or not? So I'm saying one thing, it is 100% perfect. You can put your certificate to the in front of management, means it will be counted in the your 50 hours training. The certificate is valid one.
So great audience, I would say, great team, and it was wonderful interacting with you all. Many more are way, and I would love to have some more topics from you people, wherein we can actually share our experiences and learn. Because there is a lot that we need to achieve as teaching fraternity, and it's not only the degrees or the certificates that are going to matter, but yes, there is a lot that we will learn by sharing the experiences and say the technology and the innovation that can be used in the classrooms. There is a lot that we all need to achieve in the upcoming years. Way to go, all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you,
Thank you so
ma'am.
Thank
much.
you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you, Usha,
everyone.
ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, I have